Welcome to this session. In this session, I'm going to start with this topic called as insertion sort. In this insertion sort, I have these elements like 4, 5, 4, 3, 13, 17, 45 and 18. Okay, so the number of elements what we have is 6 elements. Okay, now first I'll solve without using algorithm. Later we'll see how the algorithm will be used to solve the insertion sort problem. Okay, so in this problem, what we are going to consider is, so we are going to consider a key element. Okay, what is a key element is? For example, I have like this array will be divided into two sections. One is this first element will be considered as sorted, and all the rest of the elements will be considered as unsorted. So that is, we are going to divide the array into two sections. First, we are going to consider it as sorted list, and second as unsorted list. So from the unsorted list, whichever element we have the first element, that is 3. So which will be considered as key element. So I'm going to consider key element as 3. Okay. So this element will be compared with sorted list. So if I compare, that is 3 is less than 4, which is true. In this case, what we are going to do, we are going to exchange the element. So I'm going to get the value as 3, 4, 13, 17, 45 and 18. So now this will be our first pass. So this will be the result of pass 1. So that is, once I start comparing, so the logic is simple. We are going to take one element from the unsorted list and it will be compared with all the elements of the sorted list. We have only one element in sorted list. So when I compare, I'm going to get the result like this. Now if I see the first two elements, these two elements are already sorted. It is in ascending order. So we'll consider this as sorted list now, and these are unsorted list. These are unsorted in the second pass, for the second pass. Now for the second pass, key element will be what? Key element will be 13. So we are going to consider key element will be what? Key element will be considering it as 13. So I'm going to check whether 13 is less than 4, false. Again, we are going to check whether 13 is less than 3, that is also false. So now in this case, we are not going to exchange any element, so the elements will be in that place itself. Okay, so now that will complete our pass 2 also. So for pass 2, we are going to get the same result. Only thing is, all the first 3 elements will be in sorted list and rest of the elements will be in unsorted list. Similarly, we will do it with pass 3 also. When I do with pass 3 also, key element is 17, which is neither lesser than any of these elements. So it will remain as it is. For pass 4 also, it will remain as it is because key element is 45. So there is no element which is greater than 45 here. So it will remain as it is. When I consider pass 5, so pass 5, that is for the last position. So last position is, now when I consider that all these elements are sorted and the last element is unsorted. Okay, now the key element will be what? Key element will be 18. Okay, now 18 will be, is 18 less than 45? It is true. If that is the case, we are going to exchange here 45. Okay, and this will remain as it is. We are going to replace that later. Okay, next again. So we are going to compare 18 with 17. Whether 18 is less than 17, that is false. So not we are not going to exchange. So 18 will be placed in this position. Okay. So now we can see all the elements are in the ascending order. So this is how we are going to implement insertion sort. Now let me explain the algorithm. So in this algorithm, so as we discussed, whenever we see repeat, it is nothing but a looping statement. So we want to repeat some set of statements. So we want to repeat step 2 and step 4. Step 2 to step 4, that is, we want to repeat step 2, step 3 and step 4 for k equals to 1 to n. So k is the index value that we are going to start with 1. So why? I already told you, we will be considering the first element is already sorted and we are going to consider only the rest of the elements which is starting index as 1. So that we will be starting by 1 here till n. Okay. Next, key element we are going to consider as a of k. As I told you, key is nothing but now first element from the unsorted list, which is 3. A of 1, which is 3. Okay. Next, pointer. We are going to take one pointer variable which will be pointing to the sorted list, which will be k minus 1, which is nothing but 0. Okay. Now we are going to repeat while key is less than a of ptr. That is, key value was 3, which is less than a of ptr. What is ptr value? Is 0. A of ptr, what we have? 4. So this condition is true. And again, ptr is greater than or equal to 0. That is also true. It is 0. So in the sense, then we are going to execute these two statements. These two statements called as set a of ptr plus 1. A of ptr plus 1 will become a of ptr was 0. 0 plus 1 will become a of 1 equal to a of ptr. A of ptr was what? A of 0 was 4. Next, ptr equals to ptr minus 1. It will become minus 1. So ptr will become 0 minus 1 will become minus 1. So once that becomes minus 1, this condition will be false. That is, ptr should be greater than or equal to 0, which is false because we have got minus 1. So once we get that, we'll stop this while loop. We'll come to this step where we'll be executing set a of ptr plus 1 equals to key. So a of ptr plus 1 equals to key in the sense. So we had a of ptr was minus 1. We changed ptr value to minus 1. Since we have changed ptr to minus 1, so once we do a of plus 1, it will become a of 0. Minus 1 plus 1 will become 0 equal to key. What was the key value? 3. So in the place of a of 3, I am going to get the value as so we have made a of 1 as 4 and a of 0 as 3. So we have exchanged both the values here, 3 and 4. Okay. So this is the first step. Okay. Similarly, that is nothing but this will complete our pass 1. As we discussed, this will complete our pass 1. So in the second pass, what happens? Now k value will increase. K value was previously 1, now it will change to 2. Okay. So again, 2 is less than or equal to 6. The number of elements is 6. So it will be true. So that is 2 less than 6, which is true. So since that is true, we will come into the second step. Now key element will be what? This is sorted, unsorted list. Unsorted list first element is 13. So key element will be now 13. Again, after 13, next we are going to consider ptr value. So ptr value will be k minus 1. That is, it will be 1. So after that, we are going to check while key value. What is the key value? 13. Whether it is less than a of ptr, that is 4, which is false. So we are not going to execute that. We are going to come out of the while loop. So after coming out of the while loop, say that is nothing but we are going to stop there. Okay. So pass 2 will be stopped there because it is already sorted. So similar thing will happen whenever I will compare with 17 and also whenever I compare with 45. So and whenever, see, this is now what we have is k value was 2. Now for k value of 3, it will repeat the same. For k value whenever it is 4, it will repeat the same. Whenever k value becomes 5, in that case what happens? So 5 less than 6, that is also true. Now the key element will be the fifth element. What is the fifth element we have as 18. Now this will become 4. So that is says all these elements are sorted, only the last element is unsorted. On the last element, we are going to compare whether 18 is less than 45. That is true. So and ptr value is 4, which is greater than or equal to 0. That is also true. In that case, we are going to set a of ptr plus 1. That is, ptr was 4. 4 plus 1 will become 5 equal to a of ptr. In the sense, this will become 45. Okay. So I'll reduce ptr equals to ptr minus 1. It is nothing but ptr will become 3. So it was 4. Now it will become 3. So once it becomes 3, so then again we are going to check whether key value. What is the key value? Which was 18. Whether 18 is less than a of ptr. A of ptr is ptr value is 3. A of 3 what we have is 17. So this is false. So since that is false, this while loop will not be executed. We'll come to this step where we are going to write a of ptr plus 1. So that is a of 4. In the place of a of 4, I am going to copy the key value. The key value was 18. Okay. Now you can see the elements are in ascending order. Okay. So this is the tracing of insertion sort. So this algorithm is important and as well as tracing of this problem is also important. You need to write step by step. I'll send you a problem, and almost most of them have solved the problem, and I'll send you the solution for this problem once again through the WhatsApp. Okay, so this is how you're going to solve insertion sort. Okay, so thank you. Next session we'll continue with the selection sort.